Okay, well, now that we've got most of our modeling finished, there's a few little things here and there that we could finish up, but I think next I'd like to move back to the cross-section sheets and go ahead and pull in that proposed, and then let's go ahead and annotate what we have so far, and mostly just talk about annotation in this video, I think. Okay, well, the first thing that we're going to need to do is, well, I'll bring up both the 3D and the 2D view at the same time here. And we need to go in, and I'm in the reference dialog, we need to reference our corridor. There we go. Okay, now that we've got the corridor referenced, of course, we previously also brought in that right-of-way. You're seeing the alignment in 3D. There's the terrain. Let's jump over, though, to the drawing model, which, like I said, we are sitting in the cross-section sheets file. I'm going to jump over to a model view, or otherwise known as drawing model. And now you see the proposed is showing up. Looks good. And we can go ahead and, even though we did run an annotation before, which placed the grid out, and not too much more than that, now that we have most of the proposed drawn, we can go ahead and re-annotate this. So if I had this annotated, what I would do here is up in the drawing production tab, I would go over to remove drawing model annotations. I would say yes, and that would remove all annotations from all of the drawing models. And then I would go back and make sure that the correct annotation group is selected, which is this one here, grid with annotations 10 and 5. And then I would just click yes, and I accept, and this actually runs fairly quick these days. So yeah, it actually went into every one of these views, and you can see that it automatically annotated the station offsets for like the edge of pavement, and up here at the construction limit line where the back slope ties in with the existing. It also provided for us cross slopes for both the back slope and the pavement itself. And so that looks great. Now I could do some additional. Let's take a quick look first maybe at the cross-section sheets file. See how that's coming along. Yeah, looks great. You can see that as you develop, as you make changes, everything, this is the nice thing about modeling, everything just follows through. And looks great. But the only thing I see missing here is maybe, let's see, I think we need to add some under drain, and maybe some existing utilities for this project anyway. That's all we needed. There's the actual project. So yeah, that's what we're working towards. There's that under drain. I thought we may go ahead and add that. Main thing though, I definitely wanted to show how to bring in the underground utilities. And so we'll do, like I said, we'll do that in the next video. Let's talk maybe a little bit further about just annotation in general. We ran this annotation group, and that's all part of the IDOT workspace. But you might be asking, well, how do I know what it's going to annotate, or how does it know? What do I need to do to make sure that what I want annotated gets automatically annotated? And the answer to that would be you could go ahead and review the annotation group. You could also slightly modify it if you need to in this file. Oftentimes you don't really have to, but it's good to know this, a little bit of this background right here. Let me go back up so that I'm in the view, in the 3D view. Let's see. There it is. Yeah, I guess I need to be sitting in the default model, it appears. And so I could expand out this OpenRoads standards. And so if I go to annotation groups, cross sections, drawing, I see that annotation group that was burned into this file. This, if you look up above, you can see that all of this annotation is sitting in the design file itself. It came from the IDOT workspace, and that the way that worked was when the first time that I used that annotation group, it copies it from the library over to this design file. And so if I was to right click, because I'm looking at this file, I'm not getting into the actual IDOT workspace. I'm only looking at just the annotation group that was burned into this design file. In this, it's this annotation group. This was set up for us by IDOT so that we don't have to do it ourselves. It'd be very tedious to set it up ourselves. So if we first just look at the elevation offset and we go to location, and then could show a display there or not, we'll go ahead and expand this out. And this is how it knows where to show the annotation of an elevation and offset. Look in the middle here. You see 5 different feature definitions, right? And those are the feature definitions of the point. When you created the template or you used the IDOT template from the library, that point was assigned a feature definition. So a filter is set up for us that it says, go look for any of these feature definitions, and also look, looks like it says just on top. It's only going to annotate across the top on the top points. Yeah. Okay, so that's that. And so you could modify that. You could add a different feature definition if you wanted to. If you made those changes, that would only affect this design file. But do keep in mind that if at any point in time you were to go back and update the standards from the library, you're probably going to lose anything that you do in that design file. So that's important to know. Not to say that you shouldn't do it, but it's just good to know that information. Okay. So that was the annotation group. Now let's look at maybe some other ways that you may want to annotate. As I'm looking at this cross section, I can see that it's really in pretty good shape. There's really not much I need to add, but let's see if we can just still try to add something here. And I would do that if I wanted to add some additional intelligent annotation, so to speak. I could go to the civil labeler and open up cross section, and then I've got, these are my choices right here. So let's see. Offset, elevation, horizontal. Yeah, I'll just grab whatever. Or how about existing ground with the elevation? Let's say for whatever reason I wanted to label whatever that elevation is there. What I could do is I would go over to where it says text override. I would set the text style that I want, and that's normally like a 120, most common. Or if that was my active text style, I could just click on active. Either way. But then all I do is I hit the place button. I snap to that point, and you can see that it automatically labels that existing ground elevation, and that's the elevation. And what it's doing, it places this little circle out there. And so that's where it's using the information to update this text. So notice if I was to move that little circle, wherever that circle's at, I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to get an updated elevation. Oh, just leave it there for now. What are some other ones? Maybe like slope. That's pretty short to be labeling that slope, but we could try. I'll try sloped on the right side of the center line. On the rotation, I could say inline. I will go place, and then I just select the 2 points on each side of that line. Get the rotation right, accept it, and so it automatically knows what that elevation is, and it used the right text styles. I said inline, so it did that too. And let's see, I'm not sure if it annotates every cross section. Let me see that. Okay, yeah, if I was to use civil labeler, it looks like it's just using it just on that one drawing model. Unlike, the annotation group, which when it's set up, it annotates every cross section at that point. So a little bit different. So that just gives you a little bit information as to, how you go about annotating your project. You could also, or I guess I could go up to the template library. I made mention of this, but I probably should show just to make more sense of this. Remember back when we were creating this template and we placed an edge of pavement, we said that every point has a point name. In that point name, if you use the one that's in the IDOT workspace, has a feature definition assigned to it. And so if you're at the edge of pavement, it's going to assign the feature definition of proposed pavement. And that's one of those 5 that in the annotation group that it looks for to make it determine where it's going to annotate, automatically annotate that location and places the leader line to that point. Let's see, let's close out of this. Yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. There's really not much more to say. You can see it works fantastic. Not bad to use at all. If you don't want to use any of this intelligent annotation, you could always go back and just place regular text if that's what you want to do. Set your there's nothing that prevents us from just placing regular text as well. So let's go ahead and end it there, and we'll make a separate video for adding in the underground utilities and annotating the utilities.